All right, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. The Inkster City Council. Today is Monday, February the 20th, 2023, and the time is now 7:05 p.m. Before we get started, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Mrs. Elaine Butler, Reverend Williams' sister. She passed away here recently. If we could, please. And as we go into our meeting, I can ask the pastor from Walmack Temple, Pastor Clemens, could you please come up and bless us with prayer for this evening's meeting, please?
Let us bow our heads. Most gracious and everlasting Father, we come tonight, O God, just to give you thanks. We ask, Father, that you touch each and every representative of this city tonight. Lord, because we need you each and every day. But Father, we ask that you instill in us the ability to stand, even when it's not popular to stand, but stand for you, O God. And God, we will give you the glory that is due your most holy and righteous name. In the mighty and matchless name of Jesus, we pray today. Let every heart say together, amen.
Amen. Amen. All rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Watley. Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, sorry, I'm listening to the phone ringing. Present.
Councilmember Washington.
Present.
Councilmember Shaw.
Here.
Councilmember Chisholm.
Present.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
Here.
And for the record, Mayor Wimberly.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, good. Moving right along then. Approval of the agenda with the added items that we, as it relates to under presentations, Pastor Hearns for Annapolis Point project, and then also too, I see our Honorable Wayne County Commissioner David Kniezek is in the house, so we're going to allow him some time under presentations right after Pastor Hearns. All in favor signify by saying,
Wait,
I'm sorry, motion please?
I was going to make the motion, but I wanted to ask if we could put back on the agenda the ordinance amendment that was sent out to us that stated it would be on tonight's agenda, just for discussion purposes. There's no action we can take for it, but I spent the week calling people, telling them they should show up at this meeting because this was coming up.
Yeah, I think you interpreted my email wrong when I actually sent my email out to the council, this councilmatic body. What I said was that I wanted to put it on this particular meeting, but I wanted to be able to discuss with you all as it relates to, you know, exactly what the planning commission was saying, because I didn't necessarily put that forth as it relates to an item that I wanted to discuss. And then after I talked to the chair of the planning commission, he didn't put it forth either. So with everything that's on the agenda tonight, we were looking to do that the first meeting in March.
Okay, but we could still, you said you wanted to discuss it with council. This is an opportune time.
Yeah, but the first meeting in March should be more appropriate.
So we're not going to put it back on the agenda?
Not for tonight. We have a lot of things on our agenda for tonight already. I think we need to have time for that particular meeting. So that'll be the only thing on that agenda for March, the first meeting.
And what, that's the first week in March?
Yes, ma'am, that's the first meeting in March. Yeah, so we can have clarity as we have discussion on what's happening and what happened. Okay?
No, it's not okay,
Well,
but it's your show.
Okay, well, I'm not necessarily my show, but at the same time, I want to make sure that we have the right information and we're all on the
I
same page.
don't think this
about
can
that
be
information.
misinterpreted.
Okay, all right then. Well, as it relates to that, we're going to put it on the first meeting in March. Do we have a second as it relates to the agenda? I'm sorry, yes, second.
Support.
Okay, it's been properly moved to second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Okay?
All right, ayes have it, motion carries. Moving right into public participation, into presentations. DivDat.
Good
Welcome.
evening.
Good evening.
Hi, thank you so much for having us. I'm Samara Hamilton. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for DivDat. This is Robert Rittner, excuse me, my esteemed colleague. Thank you so much. I can just arrow. Forgot. Oh. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And then if we could, Troy, just make sure the mic is adjusted properly for her so everyone can hear her.
A little soft-spoken, sorry, I'll speak up.
Okay,
Is that
thank
better?
you.
Okay, all right, thank you. We're DivDat, and we provide payment options for residents as well as business consumers of municipalities, courts, utility companies, and more. We've got a short presentation that we'll walk you through, but Rob has done a wonderful job of working with Treasurer Green as well as with yourself, Mayor, and with SAFE in order to prepare the presentation. As I mentioned, we're a Detroit-based company that provides additional ways for folks to pay because we believe that paying bills on time should not be a privilege. Most cashiering centers or cashiering counters, payment centers, cashiering stations, and often city offices are only open normal business hours, Monday through Friday. And with COVID, of course, there have been significant closures and abbreviation of hours. So it makes it very hard for folks to pay their bills, essential bills such as property taxes and water during those normal business hours, provided they have jobs. So in order to stay current on bills, it's very tough for people, and oftentimes they have to arrange for transportation, sometimes arrange for childcare, take time off of work if they have only cash to pay with. So 25% of the United States right now is unbanked or underbanked, meaning they do not have access to normal checking accounts, debit or credit cards. So for those folks, it's very difficult to pay in person on time. What DivDat offers is more convenient self-service ways to pay bills, such as property taxes and water. We actually provide an omni-channel payment platform, meaning all of the ways that you can think of to pay in person, self-service, bill payment kiosks, pay online by web through a DivDat mobile app, as well as some additional options. In working with SAFE and with yourself, Mayor, and with Treasurer Green, we have provided some pricing and opportunity for Inkster residents and business consumers to pay in cash with check or credit or debit cards via the bill payment kiosk, online via web, as well as through the DivDat mobile app. The next slide are a couple of our local area as well as a little bit broader customers. You may see some logos of cities and counties that you may recognize, as well as some Michigan energy companies. Rob, do you want to cover this? Okay. So as I mentioned, kiosk, web, mobile, and also text to pay. I forgot to mention that, but DivDat would provide Inkster residents and businesses 4 new self-service ways to pay. Again, the bill payment kiosk, which accepts cash. They're typically placed in convenient retail locations so that there are extended hours so people can walk up and pay bills outside of that Monday through Friday 8 to 5 time period. In fact, I believe over 70% of bill payments made on DivDat's payment network are made after hours and also on the weekends. So, and I think 60%, excuse me, I have that wrong, 80% of those payments are made in cash. So for folks without access to checking accounts or credit cards, it's a very nice way for them to be able to pay bills and pay them on time. We offer 2 versions of web payments. One would be embedded on the Inkster website directly. So imagine a link that said, pay your tax bill or pay your water bill here. That would carry your logo and branding. And the other would be an opportunity for folks to go to a website which would put them sort of in the center of their payment ecosystem, giving them access to all of those city and county and energy company bills to pay that I showed you on the prior slide. The mobile app does something very similar. It provides shopping cart functionality, for multiple bills to be paid. And text to pay is a convenient add-on from both the mobile app and the consumer web pay portal. So if folks have multiple bills from any of these billers, they would be able to pay all of those bills kind of in one fell swoop, if you will. In your packets, you have additional information on the bill payment kiosk, which again is walk-up self-service. It's multilingual, configurable, so you can program it to present as many languages as you like, and as many languages as represent the community here. Includes access to that DivDAP payment network, again, access to all of those area network billers with the shopping cart functionality. Accepts checks, cash, and credit and debit cards. Instant receipts are important for folks. This is an official payment channel, so receipts would be offered by print, email, or text. And the payments, most importantly, post in real time. So there's no extra work for staff, and folks are able to hold those receipts and know that that is an official payment that happened. Same, back-end functionality on the web payment portal side. Again, 2 options. One would be to pay directly on Inkster's website. Folks would not have to create an account to make those payments. And then they can also sign up and create a payment profile on the consumer web pay portal if they'd prefer. And that way they would have access to all of those multiple billers. Similar functionality with the mobile app, and in addition, it provides turn-by-turn navigation to the kiosks in the area. I think there are over 60 Detroit area kiosks where people can make payments and access all of those network billers that I showed you previously. They can also scan the QR code from the mobile app and pull up their account quickly and pay with cash if that's how they prefer to pay. Text-to-pay functionality comes with the web and the mobile app, and just very helpful, provides reminders, and then allows folks to pay bills via simple text, one-word answers, or numeric input. Very helpful, hopefully for Treasurer Green's team, is the included transaction reporting dashboard. And this is inherent in all DivDAT solutions. All of the information from the payment, the payer, the tender type, what time they paid, how they paid, if they paid on the website or via the kiosk or text to pay, all of that information funnels into this real-time dashboard where the treasurer's team could look in and answer helpful questions. Oops, I'm so sorry. Wow, what was that? Okay, sorry. At any rate, they're able to answer questions very quickly for folks, see payments in real time, as I mentioned, generate role-based reports, which are fantastic. So only the folks on his team who wants to have access to certain information will have access to that certain information. And essentially, the real power of DivDAT, as Rob can tell you more about, but it ties directly into your back-end systems. And so there's an elimination of redundant manual data entry. So his team will benefit from hopefully faster, more expedient reconciliations, and it's sort of this one source of truth dashboard to look at where he's able to build out very specific reports that will power the business and allow you all to make great decisions based on how your folks are paying. Lastly, for my part, included in the DivDot solution is a really nice supplemental service which helps you all tell the important news of this great new tool set for the community, and we help communicate that on your behalf. So we do that in a variety of ways. Typically when folks implement a DivDot bill payment kiosk in their community, there's a ribbon cutting ceremony which we help host. We typically issue 1 or 2 press releases about the going live and the ribbon cutting as well. We've helped folks with branded flyers indicating how to make payments, and these might be placed here at City Hall or elsewhere. We've also distributed flyers such as this throughout the community to help people understand that there are now more ways to pay. We've helped with email communications, flyers, mailer inserts. This Friday, we're helping the City of Detroit with a taxpayer resource and fair, and we help staff those as well. So anything that we can do to proactively help you all get the word out to the community that there are more convenient, secure, and official ways to pay, we're here to do that. And I will say too, again, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer, so I sit on the management team. So I hear Rob leads sales for us. I hear all of the conversations, and hats off to you, Mayor Wimberly, as well as to SAFE and to Treasurer Green. You really gave this guy a run for his money, and I'll let you guys ask questions now.
Councilman Chisholm?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the presentation. This shows that you have much more features than what we presently have. And so I just have a couple of questions that sparked my interest while you were talking. Forgive me if it's doubling up on what you've already said. I was trying to grasp it all at the same time, but I couldn't.
There's a lot, thank you.
If the power goes out in the area or here at City Hall, are consumers able to still use the online option?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, wherever they can connect to the internet, our service will still be up and running, absolutely.
Great. And I know at the kiosk sometimes there's issues that come up because I've tried to use one in the city of Detroit one time and the touchscreen membrane just wasn't working.
Okay.
What's your turnaround for repairs?
That's a really good question. We have a 4-hour max SLA, and typically things are handled within an hour in the Detroit area. We have a team of technicians that we deploy directly from our headquarters. We also staff a warehouse location, so our 2-tech team is always on. They are also supported by another third-party company. So we've got folks that are from DivDot specifically that respond to things as soon as they're able, and if they're not able, then there is that third tier. I will mention as well, you didn't ask this question, but displayed very prominently on the kiosks is a 1-800 number directly on the machine there. And there's also support on the web application as well as in the mobile app. And there's always reachable US-based live support.
Great. And again, you might have said this already, but what about over-the-phone transactions for some of our seniors who might not necessarily want to swipe a debit card or put something in the machine?
Sure. So, Rob, help me. Did we talk about IVR?
Yeah, currently the IVR, that's not included in the contract, but that's something we can discuss and add to it.
So this is interactive voice response or telephone payments, as you described. So while we have not scoped that for you all, that is an option that we can take a look at.
Is that additional cost for taxpayers, or is that something that's just a different feature that would have to be
It's
added?
additional service. Yep, we would have to talk about it typically comes with an integration fee, but as I mentioned, the mayor and team really worked very hard with Rob in order to get the cost down to nothing for the citizens on the solutions we presented. So I'm sure he'd be happy to take a look at something else as well.
And that's something we can discuss. When I first talked to the mayor and SAFE, there was a $20,000 integration fee, and there was, I believe, a $2,000 a month lease payment for a kiosk. And in numerous discussions, they made it clear exactly what needed to be done. So now we're at the point where we've waived the $20,000 integration fee, and there's no lease payments.
Okay. And as far as this particular kiosk, is this just one kiosk at City Hall only, or are we going to have multiple at different city or municipal buildings? I'm sorry.
So technically, you'll have one dedicated kiosk. And then again, talking with the mayor and SAFE, they're going to decide, we're talking about putting in a retail location. So
like
then,
Food Max, for instance.
Okay.
so we haven't gotten into those discussions.
Talk about that and see where we need to put it.
Okay.
And then I believe there's, in the area, I believe there's almost 125 that you'll have access to.
Okay.
There's one at the Dollar Cast Line right down here on Ford Road. And is it Fresh Choice? There's a Fresh Choice on Ford Road in Dearborn. There's about 5 just within a few miles of here. But you will, when you go to Detroit, if you go to East Point, go to E-Course, you will be on their kiosk, and you will be able to make your payments.
Gotcha. And I only asked that just because I know when we were talking about the ballot boxes in the city of Inkster, and really just more so covering the south side, and those persons who might not be able to access the kiosks on the north side and so on and so forth, if they need to at moment's notice, versus just whenever they, would feel free. So that's why I was asking.
And then, I'm sorry, also, so if we decide to put it in a certain retail location, and you believe, and the mayor and your staff believe that we should put it in another location, we can definitely move that around.
Okay.
It's not going to be in a solid location.
And then my final question, because I know right now on our city website, there is like it's a percentage increase when you use a debit card. And it's like 3% if it's below one amount, it's 6% if it's another amount, and so on and so forth. Are those transactions, I know you said there's no cost to the city right now, but as far as the transactions, is there a cost like that when using a debit or check or anything?
A debit credit's 3%.
3%?
Yes.
Okay. So 3% per dollar then?
Per transaction amount on a debit
transaction.
credit, and then it's $3 if you pay cash, and it's $3 if you use a check, personal or business.
So would a warning or a message come up for a person who might be using the check to say you need to incorporate this in your check? Because I know we might have persons who say, hey, I already made my check out. I came to just insert it to pay my bill, but now it's telling me I need to add an additional 3%.
Yes, it'll be on there. It'll
Okay.
notify them.
That brings up a good point, too, Councilman and Rob. The screens on the kiosk are built to be customized to your business workflow, essentially. So any message that you'd like to incorporate such as that, absolutely. But we do very clearly label when there are transaction fees associated.
And you can also flag, so say someone writes, it depends if you want to do 1, 2, 3, you could say they write 2 bad checks or they use a credit card and it's fraud, we can flag it in the system. So where it'll come up on the web, mobile, or the kiosk, it says at this moment, it depends how you want to word it, it'll say at this moment, you can only pay cash. It's
Gotcha.
only available. It's not going to tell them why, but it's just going to say that their only option is cash.
Now, I know, too, with smart technology and everything that's out there and the machinery being able to read checks and things of that nature, so if someone had already pre-wrote a check and it said, you got to add this 3% additional to it, and they said, well, I'm going to insert it anyway, would the kiosk reject the check, or would it still accept it and then put that remaining balance on their next bill?
It would put for the water, it would do the balance.
Okay.
So if there was $100, and there's a $3, it's not a percentage on a check, it's just one flat fee. So then that would put $97 towards the
Gotcha.
bill.
Okay.
And then originally, when we did I talked to Treasurer Green, so with the $3 and the 3%, in our discussions, now we are returning 50 cents on every transaction back to the city.
And my final thing, Mr. Mayor, before I yield the floor, is that I know this was a slight inconvenience when I would go to places like Chase Bank or something, and they had those new teller machines in there. They would automatically, if you walked up to the teller, they would say, well, did you try to use the kiosk? And everybody's not necessarily comfortable with that. So I guess we should just potentially have some type of script for our employees that's very neutral, in directing them to use it if it's busy. But if it's not busy, they still have that same option to go up to our cashiers and get the same type of customer service that they always get.
Correct.
And we do offer, and we have ambassadors that we deploy at them, and then they'll show the people how to use the kiosk. if they have any questions.
All right, thank you very much. I yield the floor, Mr. Chair.
All right. Anything else?
Yes.
Ma'am, please.
Okay, you mentioned, first of all, data integration. What is that exactly? I'm not techie. I have a Stephen.
Sure.
I use him too, so
Yes, ma'am.
what is that?
Data integration is when you essentially kind of force two software entities or databases to speak with one another. So it's a way in which you connect the two systems so that a person doesn't have to, for instance, type information from one system into the other system.
And I just heard him a minute ago mention that they waived a $25,000 fee.
$20,000, I think it was.
Well, it says 10 in here.
That-
And
there's-
then it says up to 50 hours. So what does that mean?
So there's a $10,000 integration for the water department and the tax department. So that's the total of 20,000. So we've waived that. See,
And
on,
then there's an additional $10,000 waive for the kiosk outside the city of Inkster. That's still the water in the tap. Then it says something about $250 an hour.
so the 50 hours will cover the integration, no problem. That's just put in there because in the past, sometimes if we have technical meetings and the people cancel, and we can go weeks and put 10, 20 hours in there and have canceled meetings. That's the only reason that's put in there.
Okay, explain that again, that if someone cancels a meeting, you can use this money to offset that? Is that what you're saying?
No, just the 50 hours, that's no problem. We'll be able to integrate that, no problem. It's just if we've had instances where people just kept pushing off the meetings and pushing off the meetings and pushing off the meetings. And then it ends up being 70 hours when it should have been 40 hours. So that's just kind of an incentive to make sure that we get this up and running in a proper time.
Okay, it says that it's also provided to the city of Inkster with no upfront fees. So when do fees kick in? Are you just talking about the 3 for the check and the this, that, and the other, or what?
There's no fees to the city. There's the
The
convenience
fees are
fees
always all
passed on to the payer.
to the.
And then you receive the city will receive 50 cents of each transaction
Now,
through DivDan.
is this a contract that we're getting ready to enter into with them?
Correct.
Okay, and David's read that. You have, and he has no suggestions.
I've made my suggestions.
Huh?
I have already made them.
Where are they?
They were sent through the administration.
They're in the packet. That's what you're reading now.
Yeah, okay. Also.
We don't wait to council
What
meetings,
about,
we don't wait for council meetings to ask David questions unless you have questions for him. We work with him every day.
that's why I just
So,
asked him
yeah, So
one.
he's already did his due diligence and his work for us.
I'm asking,
Okay.
that's all. Is
Yeah.
that a problem? Okay, also, see, he made me lose my train of thought, doggone it. What kind of, these are all inside facilities, so there's no problem with safety, correct?
Yes, ma'am. We've had no thefts, no drive-offs, nothing, and we do place kiosks outdoors in many instances, although the one that we're speaking of placing for Inkster would be indoors at a retail establishment.
Okay, and since most retail establishments are closing early, you used to have 24/7 ones. The retail establishment you choose, if it's closed, that just means no access to that.
We work very closely with the city in order to best understand the residents and the traffic flows and get your thoughts on a suitable retailer that would provide extended hours as well as it's well lit, it's known to be safe. We don't place things in unsuitable environment.
But still, if it's placed in a location that doesn't open 24 hours, there's no access after a certain time.
Not 24 hours, but we do have data, to your point, that payers are paying certainly out of that Monday through Friday 8 to 5 time period. So that's why we do partner with retail establishments, which is a good point. I didn't mention that. We handle all the contracting with the retailers. We pay them $200, I believe it is, a month in order to host the kiosk. All of the cash handling, maintenance and service, that's all handled in contracts by us. So the cash is handled, by armored car pickup. It's done on a very regular basis, so there's never a glut of cash sitting there to tempt anyone. We've had no, like I said, knockoffs or knockovers or drive-offs or thefts of any sort. To that maintenance point, Councilman Chisholm, we do even replace the receipt paper ourselves. So we try to be very proactive as far as that goes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And is this a forever contract? I mean, how long is the length of this contract?
This is 3 years.
3 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question, and thank you for bringing your services here to the city of Inkster and giving us the presentation today as well.
Thank you.
I just have one quick question. What is the project timetable if we do approve this?
Certainly. Typically, the implementations are 6 to 8 weeks long, and the next step, provided you approve, will be Rob's counterpart and our client success team will reach out and get the ball rolling right away with your IT director and make sure that we've got a very clear timetable that we stick to and is shared out for utmost transparency.
All right, thank you.
And in June, in the cashiering department, we've already talked to her. She'll be trained.
Okay, so 6 to 8 weeks after, okay.
Yeah.
That's from, to go live.
Yes, correct.
Yep,
Yep,
from
correct.
integration, starting integration to going live.
Okay.
And we work with your team and the mayor's team to pick a suitable date for that ribbon cutting ceremony and all of that as well. We want to make sure that that's kind of part of it, that you get to own the fact that you're bringing, additional access and financial inclusion to the residents of Inkster.
And then, and just one quick thing is, you're getting one dedicated kiosk, but you're actually getting, I always repeat this, you're getting access to all our kiosks. So if someone's down at the casino or Comerica, we have one right at the 36th District Court that's 24 hours right outside Ford Field. So you have access to all those, not just the one.
And there is a list on one of the pamphlets in your packet. I believe it's a Detroit kiosk how-to flyer, but on the back is a list of all of the area kiosks.
And on that picture, it's Brenda's our lead ambassador. You can see she's helping someone in the picture.
What about if they wanted to pay their DTE bills and stuff on that?
Unfortunately, DT is no longer on the DivDat network. They decided to have their own
They
kiosks.
no longer?
Nope, they're no longer on the DivDat payment network. We invite you to write letters and ask them to come back.
Phone companies also?
No phone company.
So right now, that's what we're doing, building up the network. As we bring more entities on, then you'll have the ability to make those payments.
Any other questions? Please, Mr.
Just for the residents, if there are residents that are currently using, say, Point and Pay online or something like that, while you're doing your integration, will there be a stoppage or some type of problem with them continuing to make payments with Point and Pay?
There'll be a stop date and start date.
And we'll clearly communicate that. We'll work with your team to draft those communications and make sure it's very clear to everyone. And we can work with your team, Mayor, however you see fit to do so.
I have a question. May I ask?
Go ahead.
Okay, my question is, what happens if the machine, we have already paid, put money in our debit cards, and the machine is out of a receipt?
So our software, not sure where to stand. I want to address you.
And the city won't know we have paid because we won't have nothing to give them that we have went to this machine and it doesn't give us a receipt.
So the software on the back end does track every single interaction, every touch that you push on the screen is tracked and recorded. So if you make a payment, if there's no receipt paper, DivDat has record of that, as will the city have record of that. you're welcome to call that 1-800 number that's right on the kiosk, and we will, we've been on.
We won't know that if I done put my money in and my debit card in and then I push and then no receipt comes out. How I'm going to know what
It'll
it
tell you,
is?
the screen will tell you that you paid it, but then obviously, I know you don't have that.
The
I
receipt,
don't have that paper receipt.
You have the ability, and it
In which-
depends if you can have it emailed to, you can have it emailed, you can have it texted to you.
but you can also call us, and we will get you a physical receipt. I've made kind of a big deal of the receipt paper thing earlier because it's a question that our retail partners have quite often, simply because they don't want to be the ones replacing the receipt paper, but it goes out very infrequently because we have staff of people who go around and check those machines very often. We don't wait for it to run out to replace it also, but in the event that you make a payment and you get all the way through and the payment has been made and you just don't have that proof of payment, then you can call the 1-800 number, or you can, I hate to put you on the spot, Treasurer, you can call the city. They will have record that payment was made, as will we, and we will make it right.
And also on your dashboard, you're able to see, with the kiosk, you have the ability to see exactly what location they paid it at, what time they paid it at, and what channel they used.
Okay, then. Any others from? All right, hearing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is not a public hearing. We're in order, we're in session. We want to stay in order. Thank you. All right, please.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Pastor Hearns, Annapolis Point Project. Troy, please.
Good evening, Council and Mayor.
Good evening.
Truly thank you for this opportunity to address you on this evening. Thank you, young man. For those of you all that don't know me, I know one on the council does, but it may be someone in the audience that doesn't know me. I'm Pastor John Hearn. And today I am here in response to an RFP that was put out by the city regarding the Annapolis Point project. And it's our desire, with the city's approval, to move forward with the development of that land that has sat vacant for nearly almost 30, if not 40 years. There's sentimental attachment to that area. Reverend Williams would refer to it as the horseshoes of love whenever he's talking about that particular area. And not just because he thinks of it in that manner, but my parents' very first home was on Wayland Court in that very area. So there is a sentimental attachment there that drives me to want to see it totally back to the potential that it once enjoyed back in the earlier days, I won't say of my life, but of their lives. Because I wasn't exactly born during that time when they resided there. But at the same time, it laid the foundation, for them to move forward. So today, I'm here with Mrs. Shawana Gajeski. I'll get it one day. Troy left. How do I advance this?
The little remote right there in front of you.
Oh, all right.
He's getting ready to come and show me back.
Just
down
Just
here.
a minute. Let's see. Not sure how to get this in presentation. No, something there. They just have to do it the old school way. Yeah, go
it's not even picking up with this program. Yeah, I apologize. You just have to click each page and kind of navigate.
Just hit here. Okay.
Are you ready?
You got it, Pastor?
No. Oh, all right. I can't even read that myself. It's always good to have a backup. Just by way of a background, the Western Wayne Urban Community Development Corporation, it's a Michigan nonprofit corporation established in October of 2020. And it was established as the successor to People's Community Hope for Homes, which was a Michigan nonprofit corporation that my father founded. Myself as the CEO and being a lifelong resident of the city of Inkster, the mission of the Western Wayne County Development Corporation is to continue the work of its predecessor to foster and aid and assist in the planning and the development, renewal, and improvement of affordable housing in Western Wayne County. Our program lends itself to the economic and the social stability of the community that we serve. And our mission at Western Wayne County is to cultivate a vibrant and healthy community where people live, where they work, and where they play. Our core values are economic equality and racial justice. And by working collaboratively with local, state, and federal government agencies, resources are brought to bear to affect the vitality of the neighborhoods that are in need of revitalization. Previous accomplishments of our organization carried out in the city of Westland include 29 infill homes built in the Carver subdivision of Westland. In addition, the development of a 34-unit Westshire housing subdivision. It was also built for the benefit of first-time home buyers on Courier Street in the city of Westland. These efforts brought stability to the housing market, where home values increased by over 20%. The quality of life was enhanced by the investment of the city of Westland in the establishment of a new park for the citizens, and also the construction of a brand-new fire station. Best practices certifications were awarded by HUD, Housing and Urban Development, at the federal level, and joint public services awards with SIMCOG. The city of Inkster, my friends, has lagged behind its neighbors in the construction and development of new affordable housing. But Western Wayne Urban Development is well suited to fill the needs and provide the necessary housing stock, not only to add to the quality of life of its residents, but to strengthen the tax base of the city as well. The investment of resources through our educational system and through scholarships that have been given from various entities in our community, be it our fraternal associations, our churches, as well as a group that I belonged to for over 25 years, the Optimist Club. We gave scholarships to children every year of this fair city. But the reality is surrounding communities benefited from the brain power that was exported from Inkster due to the lack of opportunities in various areas such as housing for raising their families. Now, the history of Inkster and its residents, it reflects the highest levels of achievements from individuals born and raised right here, from NASA all the way to casinos in Las Vegas. The future holds even greater potential that can only be realized through the proper investments made in its infrastructure for growth. Western Wayne Urban Development stands ready with the resources and a personal commitment to the city of Inkster from an institution with roots embedded in the city that are generational. So my friends, today I present to you our plan for development for the Annapolis Point project, but just want to, how to advance that page? We have financial partners with DTE Energy, Coast to Coast Realty Group as well as the Cambridge Financial Group to help us with this project. And just by way of letting you know some of our prior accomplishments, what you see now on your screens is development of infill homes on the Westland side of the street of Annapolis Road, where infill homes were built from Annapolis all the way to Power Street in that particular neighborhood.
It's not advancing over here. Over here. See if I can. Oh, here we go.
Bring it down. These are just some of the examples of homes that we have built in the adjacent area. And what you're witnessing here, these are the homes of the infill developments, and this picture here reflects the Westshire subdivision that was built in Westland on Courier Street. So these are the type of homes we're looking to place within the Annapolis Point subdivision. So our proposed housing units for this area, need to slip to the, well, we can go there. The Annapolis Point project will consist of 91 mixed income units. It's our understanding and intent to develop at least 33% or 30 affordable homes, and 61 homes will be at market rate. The affordable homes will be blended throughout the total development, not to segregate the income ranges. And all homes will include 3 to 4 bedrooms, garages, and basements. Optional upgrades will be available at the builder's cost and discretion of each of the units, and projected purchase prices for the base model homes will start in the mid-200s and will vary based upon the model selection and the upgrades. The homes will range in sizes from 1,200 square feet up to 1,800 square feet. Further, the Annapolis Point development will seek the collaboration with the City of Inkster through the purchase of this land with MISTA, help me again.
Gajeski Homes.
Gajeski Homes, LLC, and various other agencies with the goal to achieve the following: to construct single-family homes, improving the neighborhood aesthetics, increase property tax revenue to fund city operations, and provide home ownership counseling in an effort to promote retention through education and financial literacy. Our development team consists of, and I'll let you take it from here. Okay. You can best speak for yourself.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Shawana Gajeski. I am a licensed contractor and builder, and I had the honor and privilege of actually working with the late Reverend Hearn Sr. on the Westshire project about 20 years ago. As a matter of fact, it was like the beginning of my career in real estate on the development side. So I was there and I witnessed the build of these beautiful houses. I helped a number of the families through the affordable program that he mentioned with MISTA, and the home buyer classes, financial literacy, education, and all of that. And so it was very instrumental in my career in going in this direction. Since then, I've opened and expanded my own construction company. I do real estate full-time. I'm a licensed real estate broker, and I'm also a licensed residential builder, as I mentioned before. So I've been doing this for about 20 years, and I'm honored to be in partnership with this new development for Annapolis Point. I've got a couple of members of my team here. My construction manager assistant, Jamal, is his master's in construction as well. And there's a couple of things that really stand out. So we've already done this before, right, with the Westshire project. We've done the development, we've done the education, we've done the market rate affordable housing provided for residents in the city. And so we already have the model, a great foundation to start with. And to build on that legacy, we want to take it even further this time in terms of incorporating different educational aspects. If we can partner with the local trade schools and the school systems to try to have some of the construction development with those partnerships as well. Any way we can bring the community in to be involved in this development to where it's a benefit, not only as home buyers, but for education and for skills trade training as well, which I'm a big advocate for also.
All right, thank you so much for this opportunity. I don't know if you'd like to see any of the actual sketches or models at this time, or if there's enough.
Have them on the screen? See them on the screen?
We have to come out of this.
Okay. Shut this down right here.
Let's go to 64.
64, okay.
That's the question. You got the money.
Okay, these are just some of the examples of the homes that we're looking to bring to the area that will fit in with the aesthetics of the community from the prior developer of the land. And we understand that much of the infrastructure is already there from the prior development, which will all go towards helping keep the costs of these new homes very reasonable and affordable for all of the recipients. So this is just one example. Does this thing advance?
You want to go to the next one then?
No, it's just more on that strand. There's 18.
So while you're doing that, any questions from this body?
One question.
Please go ahead.
When will you start?
As soon as we get the blessing of the city, we can start right away.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's just scroll through. These are some of the floor plans of the homes. Side views, rear views. It's an ambitious project, but it's something I believe that's well deserved for the citizens of our fair city. And there's a lack of homes of this nature within the confines of our city, which is driving many of our residents to our neighboring cities to find good homes to raise their families. So this is a golden opportunity for us to act and for us to come and be a benefit for the community. I am vested in this simply because I'm a resident here, and many years ago when all of my dad's business colleagues were moving out of the city, he opted to build his home for the rest of his life right here in the city of Inkster. And I asked him why. I said, Dad, why are you building here when everybody else has moved away? His reply to me was that, son, this is the community I was born in and raised in. He said, and my neighbors don't make me who I am because I have a West Bloomfield address. He said, I'm who I am because I was born and raised right here in the city of Inkster. And therefore, I'm going to spend my money right here in this community and establish my roots here. And I want people to see me getting up, going to work every day so that I can be an example for all of those who may have a lack of ambition for going out trying to do better for themselves. So these are just a few of the houses. I'm going to end it there. As a preacher, I can talk for a little longer than you probably would care to listen.
We do have a couple more questions.
But if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for the general public, because we've used this term, and I know we're in state government, if you will, and local government too, or federal government, I should say, getting away from the term low-income housing to affordable homes or affordable housing. Could you expand upon what that definition means to your program, the criteria, and I guess what a market value of what these homes will cost for the general public?
Well, when you say affordable, in this particular regard, you may have a home that's in the $300,000 range. However, there are so many incentives available now through various government agencies and some private foundations that will come in to offset those costs for individuals that meet certain criteria, in particular being a first-time home buyer. Now, when we did the Westshire project, the majority of those homeowners came right out of Lamone Gardens. We were able to take them in, clean up their credit, help them establish credit, so that they would be marketable for the homes. We did the home owner training classes for those individuals so they would know how to maintain a house rather than calling the maintenance man to come fix the leaky faucet. All of these things contribute to making the house affordable. They literally put in some sweat equity on the homes that were being built for them. So when you add those things together, that $300,000 house may now cost $250,000 based on the incentives that are put in. So it's not public housing, and it's not low-income housing. You're going to get the same quality that the person paid market rate for, but there are just more incentives available. And in particular, even in Westshire, the city actually donated the land for the houses to be built on. So at $5,000 per lot, needing 2 lots to build, that was a $10,000 savings passed right on to the homeowner.
If I could expand on that as well.
Absolutely.
There were a lot of grants. So for the actual cost of the construction of the house, they're the same. But you find incentives, whether it be grants, home buyer assistance programs to help recover with closing costs and down payments to make the purchase of the houses affordable. You know, a lot of people can pay their rent every month. And lately we know rents are going up to $300, $400 a month. So we've got a lot of residents that are already paying $1,200, $1,300, $1,500 a month. If we can just take them and convert them into homeowners and teach them how to maintain their properties, it's the same thing. But it's difficult sometimes when you've got to come up with 3.5%. And then you've got to come up with the prepaids and the taxes. So you're looking at anywhere for $20,000 down payment that people just don't have. And so some of these programs that he mentioned is what bridges the gap and makes the houses affordable versus a market rate. So you have a market rate where this person, they have the $20,000, they can buy the house, and then we have this other person here. But there's no distinguished difference in the house that they purchase. That makes sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I just wanted to know that just because when we're talking to constituents and they're saying, well, hey, you know, you guys had these representatives before you for this particular project, and they said it's supposed to be affordable, but I can't afford it. I just want to be able to have a conversation with them as to whatever it may be, that different blockade that they may have, you know, come upon versus saying, well, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I like to be able to expand upon that, give them a definitive answer, because that's a lot of times what people want is it to be explained more thorough to them, and they want their, if you will, elected officials to know every single thing that's going on. So thank you for that. I yield the floor.
All right.
Any others?
Yes, I have a question. Will there be association fees attached to the properties?
Well, that's something we haven't investigated yet, but at
Okay.
the same time, I can truly see the benefit of it, you know, for snow removal, common area maintenance, and to have some sort of governance so that if a house is in need of paint or repair, there's someone that can stand up outside of the ordinance officer of the city, but a group local that has a vested interest, because what happens next door is going to affect my property as well.
Correct.
So that's something we will not rule out, because there truly is a benefit for having that.
All right, thank you.
Good question. Any others? Councilwoman Wiley?
Yes. I understand that there was some water problems over there at that Annapolis Point. There was a lot of standing water and things when that first half went through. Has that situation been rectified, or are you even aware of it?
I'm not even aware of it at this point.
Oh, okay. And then one other question is, how do you think the current marijuana situation in Inkster is going to impact the sale of these homes?
Well, that's a good question. But the jury is really still out on that, because we're talking about something that hasn't happened yet. We already have a few establishments that are open, and so far, we've still been able to maintain. Now, as far as what's going to happen in the very near future, the jury is out on that. But in particular, this area we're talking about developing, it's far removed from those particular areas of distribution. So I don't see an immediate impact in this particular area we're speaking about.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
it's you know, I think this may be to just an administration question. you know, we had this development that was going on at Annapolis Point for some time. Now, for the future, how do we protect, or is it something in the contract that protects the city from, you know, any type of mishaps or any type of reverter clause that we have in the, or anything that can really protect us as we move forward, because it didn't transpire last time. So how do we protect the city from any shortcomings?
Yeah, well, you got a couple of ways, but I'm not an attorney, but let me just say this as it relates to the actual purchase of the property. That's what we're dealing with tonight. It's the actual sale of the property for this particular development. So any purchase of property from the city side, we do have a reverter clause inside of the actual document, the contract, saying, okay, you have this amount of time to do this. So based off of what we're talking about doing now as it relates to a master development agreement with the developer, of course, with the attorney, with the planning department, to be able to say, okay, this is the timeline that we're looking for you to do this, and then stick to those as we go along. We put out an RFP about 2 months ago. We had one other individual, was it one other one? It was just one other one, right? Just one other applicant come in, and when we looked at both of them, looking at the history that Pastor Hearns has and what he's doing, we know that he'll be a viable partner for the city of Inkster to complete the project. Now, saying that, business is business. So we would definitely look at some type of bond issuance to cover us as it relates to just getting the development done, because what we don't want to have happen is it just sitting there. We know that in 08, the bottom fell out, you know, with the real estate market, so we understand that. But what this councilmatic body has done over the last couple of years is work with the state of Michigan to give us the authority to go out and do a retail market analysis study and commercial analysis study with homes. And in those two studies, it's this particular housing that we're missing as it relates to the gapping in housing for the city of Inkster. So I think that this is going to be really, really good. People are calling all the time just looking for property in this particular range with this particular size. So I think it's going to be really, really good for the city. And know that, again, we're selling this property. The assessor came to us with like $4,200 a plot. Pastor Hearns and his group offered us $4,300 a plot. So it was $400,000. So we know that he's invested in making sure that this gets done.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any others? Hearing none, Pastor, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right. Wayne County Commissioner David Knieza, please. Yeah, I'm working.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, council. Can I get myself, is it okay if I close this?
Please close.
Okay. I'll get myself situated here real quick. Yeah, I didn't plan on speaking to it, but I really have to tip my hat to Reverend Hearn and Shawana. When we talk about the barriers to home ownership, we talk about them as if they're relics of the past. They're very much alive today in our financial institutions and in our governments. And so, you know, to move forward that type of development and a property that you can see the lines coming up out of the land when you drive past the property. So it's really exciting. I'm very excited to be back here in the city of Inkster. The last time that I was standing at this podium in front of all of you was just over 4 years ago. I was saying my goodbyes, thanking the community for the support throughout my tenure as a member of the Michigan House of Representatives and the Michigan Senate. In that time, a lot has changed and a lot has stayed the same. Certainly the case as I look around the room here today. I've already got Ms. Shelby giving me jobs to do as I'm coming into the meeting here tonight. In that time, I'll just briefly say that I was very fortunate to be appointed to the Wayne County Commission back in 2020, elected in that year, and then elected last year as well, to begin tenure this year with a brand new district. Because of redistricting, you recall that it was Commissioner Anderson who previously represented the city of Inkster on the Wayne County Commission. Because of redistricting, I now have Inkster along with all of Dearborn Heights and all of Garden City. And so we're looking to hit the ground running. looking to get back out there, active and engaged in the community. And so I wanted to come here tonight just to provide you with an update on two things, both for you all as elected leaders in this community and for those in the audience and who are listening at home. The first one has to do with the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Now, you all know that the city received some direct appropriation from ARPA. The county also received direct appropriation from ARPA. We received $329 million to spend all throughout Wayne County. And rather than sit there and think about what the county could do with it, the county went about this process of engaging with local governments throughout. What's going on in the community? What are the needs? How can we be helpful? The whole 9 yards. So I really have to give, again, credit to our Wayne County Executive, Warren Evans, our Deputy County Executive, Asad Turfi, and the members of this council and administration for your participation in that process. Last Tuesday, February 14th, I sent a communication to you all letting you know that later this month, perhaps early next month, the jury's still out on the date, but the commission is preparing to consider proposals, one of which will impact the city of Inkster. That proposal is a $3 million investment that we're looking to make to the Wayne Metro Community Action Agency. That Community Action Agency will be responsible for working here with the city leaders, yourselves, for the construction of 2 new 2-story multifamily rental buildings to support the refugee populations that are moving to Wayne County and the state of Michigan. I need to be crystal clear, I'm simply the messenger. There was a lot of work done before me in the 47 or so days that I've been in this seat. So I don't want it to be perceived that I'm up here taking credit. The credit lies with you all. The credit lies with our county executive, my predecessor, Glenn Anderson, and simply wanted to raise that for your attention because when that commission meeting comes up, we want to make sure that the mayor, the council, and others have the opportunity to come downtown, speak to that proposal, and to let the other 14 commissioners know that there's support for investment here in the city of Inkster. If there's questions on that, I'd be happy to speak to it. But I may have to go back and find you some additional answers if I can't speak to it. The second piece, if I may, Mr. Mayor. This is a little touchy, right? Because in talking about it, it might seem like I'm slighting some that aren't in this room. I don't want to have it be perceived that way. But the members of the Wayne County Commission have the ability to determine a certain percentage of Parks Millage money and how that Parks Millage money is distributed within the communities that we represent. And some of the ways that commissioners approach that, or I should say there's a variety of ways that commissioners approach that. Some look at what communities pay in and give you back a percentage that equates to the percentage that you paid in. That creates a lot of inequity, in my opinion. Some may say it's fair, but like in your gut, you know that it just doesn't feel right because we want to be making investments in our parks and recreational opportunities for our communities. And if you're not getting large enough dollar values, you don't have the ability to do large scale and transformative projects. And so when I came into this role in early January, I asked for all of the numbers of what the city of Inkster has received the last few years. This is the tentative spot that I was talking about. In 2019, 2020, Inkster received $5,300 from that commission allocation. In 2020, 2021, $5,263, and in 2021, 2022, $5,672. That's $5,000-ish out of a total pot of roughly $85,000. Over that 3-year period, Inkster received $16,326, if my calculator did it right. $5,000 is great, but it don't do much. And so what I've communicated to the mayor, and again, have to thank him for his partnership, have to thank SAFE for his partnership, is that I want to move to a new model starting this year, one that looks over the length or the breadth of a 3-year period. So instead of giving out a little bit to everybody, and let's be candid, it's just a way for elected leaders to say we gave a little bit to everybody. I want to give the whole kit and caboodle to each community each subsequent year. I'm going to start with the city of Inkster. I'm going to do Garden City next. I'm going to do Dearborn Heights after that. And so the $5,000 that you would have otherwise gotten this year is now going to be upped to $85,000. The $85,000 will be the responsibility, pardon me, of the mayor and this council to determine how you want to spend it, why you want to make that investment in. But again, let me be clear, that $85,000 here is in year one, Garden City is in year two, Dearborn Heights year three. You'll get another $85,000 plus inflation, you'll get a little bit more in 3 years' time. And so, you know, there might be that little gap year there, but again, that same 3-year period, we're looking at $16,000 versus $85,000. It's a new model, it's a little bit different. I think it's going to allow us to do some transformative and exciting things here in Inkster, and so I simply wanted to announce that change here this evening as well. Mr. Mayor, absent sharing phone number and email, which I can do before I sit down, that was my brief update for today. I'm happy to entertain any questions that you or the council may have.
Council, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just would ask if you could keep us updated on the Cherry Hill Road enhancements. For some time, they've been starting far down the Westland and making their way. They did put the road orange barricades out there, and they were going to start working, but from my understanding, the commission in talks with the contractor, just like something that happened with us with the Avondale Road. The prices went up, and it had to be renegotiated. I know at this point, it's not happening right now, and I forget the conversation if it's happening next year or not, but basically I think from like maybe perhaps, Mr. Billis?
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I was gonna say from maybe Middle Belt down towards Beach Daily, which borders, you know, 3 different communities, Garden City, Inkster, and Dearborn Heights. I was just gonna ask if you could keep us updated, and I guess Mr. Billis might have some insight as well on those enhancements, because I got to put some air in my tires tonight. Because some of those craters out there, like the ones that you can see on the moon from a telescope.
Yes, sir.
And it needs to be done. I feel that all 3 communities are getting the short end of the stick, not just Inkster this particular time, because it's been needing some repairs for some time. And my residents over in the Meadows, off of Cherry Hill right there, they're holding us very accountable, because they travel those roads more frequently than I do. I tend to get lucky enough to go down Avondale and John Daly. And those need repair as well. So if y'all got any money in that pot for that and it can help us out, please do. But on a more serious note, back to Cherry Hill. Yeah, if you could keep us updated on that. I think it had got moved into another fiscal year budget. I can't recall the year, but I just wanted to put that on your radar.
I appreciate that, Councilman. And again, I can't tell you off the top of my head. Happy to go back and double check. You're right, though. This is one of those tough areas, and I have this conversation, this spirited conversation most often with Dearborn Heights, because Cherry Hill, until you hit Middle Belt, if you're heading west, is a city road. And then from Middle Belt, farther west, it becomes a county road. And so I get a lot of calls from Dearborn Heights, again, spirited conversations about the county doing work along that strip along Dearborn Heights, and I have to remind them that it's the city's responsibility. I'll also use this as an opportunity to say that the collaboration between Inkster and Dearborn Heights, I think, has been particularly strong from what I've seen this last month and a half. I know that the mayors of both cities, their leadership teams, have been collaborating specifically on Cherry Hill Road, and that some additional improvements were made, I believe, just this last week, Mr. Mayor. And so I don't say that to say, you know, check the box, we did it. There's still more work to be done. Happy to keep you apprised of that and to go back and double check on the progress. And of course, if it is getting pushed down the list, advocate to make sure it gets prioritized again.
Well, thank you. And Mr. Mayor, if Mr. Bivens has any more insight, could he expand upon that?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Councilman Chisholm, to the body, to the audience, and to the viewing audience. Cherry Hill from Middle Belt to Inkster Road will begin construction in April.
We're all learning something today.
It's approximately, I think, 5 to 6 months. My engineers attended the pre-construction meeting last week, and we're getting the information together to disseminate to the community. But as Kenesha said, from Inkster Road to Beach Daily belongs to the city. The previous Dearborn Heights DPS director left and went to Canton. We were in talks with him of doing a joint project like we did with Westland. So we hope to communicate that same sentiment with the new DPS director over at Dearborn Heights so we can get that part done. But Inkster will And you're right, Councilman Chisholm, it was scheduled to be done last year. I do attend those meetings, and I did, on behalf of the city, have some issues because it was not done. Like Inkster Road was delayed by a year or two. I had some issues with that. So they do know we're at the table and we are talking to them. And by us pushing, it's on the agenda starting in April.
Awesome, thank you. Anything else? Thank you so much for your service, sir.
Thank you,
so
Mayor.
much.
Thank you, Council. Appreciate you.
So much, we really appreciate you. All right, moving into consent agenda. Second. Moving properly second, any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Please, ma'am.
In the council comments, there is a statement by Councilman Chisholm that lists a gentleman who passed away, and the name they have is Williams. It's actually Willis, Willis.
Good.
Yes.
Anything else? Councilman Chisholm?
Nope, that was
it?
same. Yep,
All
thank
right.
you.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
Ayes have it, motion carries. Boards and commissions?
Mr. Chairman,
Please, sir.
I'd like to extend Gabe Henderson's time on the beautification.
Is there a second?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Any others? George Williams to be, is his expired as well?
There's two here.
Let me see.
Apps. Eric Smith and James Cross.
Oh, yeah. Councilman Wiley, did you get a chance to talk with James Cross about the zoning board? He did say he wants to.
Yeah,
But that's your appointment.
I saw the, his,
Yeah.
app, but
That's your
no, I
appointment,
did
so-
not talk to him.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, if you
I can,
talk to-
if he wants to be, and I already saw the paperwork that is supposed to accompany a request, I'll go ahead and nominate.
Okay, any support? Second, I'm sorry, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. What was this other person for?
I believe another one's for ZBA. Am I just?
Yes.
Is that your person?
District 4.
That's your? Okay, you want to take a look at that and then get?
Well, I actually had talked with Councilman Shaw last meeting, and actually met the gentleman and everything. Same person, right, Councilman Shaw? Okay, so I'm ready for the appointment tonight, if this body is pleased with that.
All right, is there support for that? Second, I'm sorry. Second. We're gonna get it together. Second for that, all right. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. All right, any others? Hearing none, moving into new business, please, City Clerk.
Item 9A is to consider approval of a special land use and planned unit development for Lemoyne Gardens housing redevelopment.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item B.
Consider approval for the administration to enter a master services agreement with DivDat, Diversified Data Processing and Consulting, Inc., to provide Treasury and Water Department with additional secure and official payment channels, including a bill payment kiosk and web payment portals. The City of Inkster will be contracting with DivDat as the exclusive payment provider.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I just wish that, the public would have got a chance to speak more about this, because it's going to, it's going to affect us. I mean, it's going to affect the public as well. So I wish they would have got a chance to speak a little bit for it, taking a couple of more questions for it.
Okay.
And also,
Go ahead.
how would this affect the audit situation where we had some difficulties in payment processing in the?
This is gonna finite it. Gonna make sure you don't have any issues.
So it's going to look onto the audit as something more positive.
Secure.
That's all I have.
All right. Did you have those questions that the public you wanted to?
No, I wish they
pose
would have,
to the
you know.
public? I did see one hand and then one other hand, but other than that, I didn't see anybody
I
else.
think, Ms. Shirley, I don't know, if Shirley, you still had a question concerning that? The kiosk?
Shirley?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to know, and I was coming for, is that when she said that she knows she's gonna pay it or you would recognize, do it give a confirmation when she could write it down on the paper in case something come up and they can say, tell you? That's all it was.
Good question.
Just that confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything I do, I get a confirmation and print it out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Any problem, I'm coming out.
Sounds good. So confirmation numbers will be included with DivDat because it is secure. We know that. Okay.
And in that scenario, I should have
Approach the podium, man. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, great question. And yes, the payment confirmation will display on screen as payments are accepted prior to the receipt printing. If someone were so inclined, they could even snap a picture if they had their phone camera available.
Okay.
Or write the number down. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Absolutely.
Any others in the audience? Please. Question.
I'd like to ask, the use of the kiosk, if Northern City Hall closes at 4 o'clock every day, if I make my payment at 9 o'clock at night on that day, will I get credit for that day?
Yes.
Or will it transfer to the next day?
Nope, it's during the 24-hour business cycle provided. Treasurer Green's business rules accommodate the 12 to 12 timeline.
So we'll make sure it's in the system to say that. So you have from 12 or whatever it is, the treasurer will be able to say, okay, from 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, we honor payments for the next day or for that exact day.
Thank you.
Good question. Sir, go ahead.
Another question was, yes, pay online. Could you give us a little bit more input on that?
Yes, absolutely. And we're able to provide additional information for the residents and
Yeah, certainly.
however you'd like to provide it. But sure, the guest pay feature would be a web payment portal that would be iframed or programmed into the website so that usually you have to go to the city website and then click on a link to pay the bill. You would not have to create an account, for instance. You would simply, depending on your business rules or however you'd like to pull up invoices or bills, you would type in either your last name or property address or some maybe combination of both. Your invoice amount due would come up and you would input however much you'd like to pay. Thank you.
Go ahead. Ms. Shelby, hold on one second. Hold on one second, Ms. Shelby. Go ahead, because you had a question already. Go ahead.
It's more of a confirmation.
Sure.
We can make this payment anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be in Inkster. It could be anywhere where those kiosks are available.
Or on your phone.
Now, on my phone.
Or on your computer.
And, yes. And, so, yeah, anywhere, anywhere, if I'm at the casino or if I'm out of town,
If you're
anywhere in Florida or if it's just Michigan.
You would need to be on our Detroit area kiosk. So
Okay, I just
yes,
wanted to
in
make sure
Michigan.
anywhere in Michigan where they kiosk are available, I can make my payment.
Correct, or anywhere from the mobile app or from the.
So I really don't have to go to the kiosk. I can just sit on my phone.
Absolutely, yep, if you're comfortable with that, definitely.
And I just have to make sure that when I'm making those payments, that there will be a fee regardless somewhere, whether it's gonna be either a debit fee, and that's not you charging me, that's a credit card company.
Okay. All right, guys. Unfortunately, we have to come back to order because this is being PO'd and everyone in the general public. So we want to have, Councilman, if you want to have a community town hall.
No, that's
let's
good,
do that.
Mr.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay, no, you got your wish. I just making sure we stand in order. Just your floor. Anything else you need?
No,
Okay.
appreciate the privilege.
Anybody else? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
Ayes have it, motion carries. All right, item C, please.
Item C is to consider approval of an offer to purchase 91 vacant parcels of land located at Annapolis Point in the amount of $400,000 and for the administration to enter a development agreement with Western Wayne Urban Community Development for Annapolis Point Housing Development.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion?
Well,
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item D, please.
Item D is to consider authorizing the Director of DPS to make an application to the Wayne County Department of Public Services for a permit to maintain the stormwater management system and detention pond at the location of the new filling station at 29406, Michigan Avenue in Inkster, Michigan, in accordance with the drawings attached as Exhibit A, the terms of long-term maintenance plan attached as Exhibit B, and the Wayne County Stormwater Ordinance and Administrative Rules.
What's your pleasure?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. This brings us to public participation.
No, we have any.
We have any? Oh, yeah, for sure. Closed session item, please. Out loud, please. Item E.
So item E is for this body to consider granting the city attorney settlement authority in a facilitation session on February 28, 2023, in the matter of Robinson versus Cobble, Arnica, and City of Inkster.
What's your pleasure?
So move.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Oh, second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. All right, moving into public participation. This allows the general public to speak to us as it relates to any items that you may have for us for the city tonight. We're asking that you, of course, 3 minutes is your time limit. All right, Rebecca Daniels? You want us to wait for you? Okay. You did, this is you, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor,
Good evening.
City Council, the audience, Inkster. I'm just up here to give a friendly reminder of our RRC meetings. They are still held regularly, and they've always been held regularly, on the second Monday of every month from 5:30 to 7 at the library. We encourage our city council members and the public to join us at those meetings. But more importantly, what I wanted to give you information on is the RRC Virtual Academy class for this particular, for the RRC, is having the next free training class from May 18th through June 22nd. Again, this is a free class. It is every Thursday. It's 1 hour per week, 6 to 7, and you can register online at the MichiganPlace.org and just go under the tab Events and Training to be able to take the class. And you'll be familiarize yourself with the RRC certification and the benefits that it will provide us for our city.
And the
Thank you,
acronym for that is, what is it?
Redevelopment, RRC stands for Redevelopment Ready Communities.
All right, and we need your participation. Thank you. Gabe Henderson? Did you write this?
Well, that's changed. I talked to, anyway.
Oh, okay.
Okay, family. Hello, family. How y'all doing?
Okay.
No, but I want to talk on that. I want to thank all the love that was received and given, the love that we had in the community this Saturday and all that. That shows you, what Inkster is about, love and trying to do the best they can. And let God do the rest. But anyway, that thing said I quit. But I changed my mind.
Okay.
You know, about beautification, right? Okay, I talked to the good reverend and all that, I started thinking, I said, well, it made me think. But I need some help. I've been waiting 6 months to get a pickup truck, okay? They said they're waiting on a chip. It might be an ignition chip. I know a hot wire. I used to do my old cars. But anyway, but I need a truck. I want the truck. You know why I want that truck?
Okay.
To help clean up the city.
That's right.
I've been talking with folks and all that. There's something that need to be done. And I'm not the only one to ride up and down the street and all that. It's some apartment complex right there on Middle Belt, Parkwood, and there's so much trash and so. If I had my truck, I would have cleaned that up. I ain't the only one in Inkster that might have a truck to clean that up. I need some help. I got a notice on my door. I don't live on, but this is on my door. They got 1450 Lexington. I live in 1450 Wellesley. I had to take a lot of stuff out of my van to take some chairs and tables back and all. So I had a little less stuff left out in my yard, and I got home and all that, and I was able to put stuff back in my van. So they gave me a site. But they did their job. They did their job. They saw all that stuff out in my yard, and I commend them. They did their job. But I had to take that off. I got a lot of stuff. I got stuff I building ramps, rails for folks and all that wood. I got a lot of wood and stuff for my kids and all that trying to teach. But I got a lot of stuff. But you know, they say I got to clean it up, what, the 28th? Okay, they give me, that's my brother's birthday up in heaven. I'm gonna clean up, but I want everybody to do their job.
Yes, sir.
I want code enforcement. If they know these areas, they drive down there, hey, tell the folks, you know, y'all making money. Y'all making money. Let's clean up. You know, if you ain't gonna clean up, you got to get the court. I've said something about this years ago. You know, like say we want it safe, clean, accessible. I try to clean up, and we got to all do our jobs, and we got some gangsters that in our community making good money, but they don't want to clean up their place. We trying to make them clean up, and I ain't gonna quit now.
Thank you.
But they did their job when they put this on my door, because all the stuff I had in my yard, because I had to clean up. They did a good job.
Okay.
You know, I but you know, they say if they knew it was Gabe's yard, they wouldn't have put it on it. But they got 1450 Lexington. I live in 1450 Wellesley.
Okay.
And I want to thank you all for the love that you. And but I said we got to get those gangsters. I'm gonna call them gangsters because you don't come in our neighborhood just to make money and be trash. I found bags of trash, and I'll go through that trash. Sometimes people live in Dearborn, throw their stuff out there. Wayne.
Oh yeah.
You know, and see, you know, when you don't put the salt in the wounds of a wounded community. You know, but you gonna go up down my street and you gonna throw trash out. You say, well, you know. One lady did that a long time ago. She had the nerve to say, well, Inkster's so trashy and so dirty. I figured I could throw it. They're double fine now. We got folks that, you know, don't want the success to come upon our city and all that. And I say some of our sisters and brothers of lighter hue that don't care about some of the sisters and brothers of darker hue. We got to change that, because we're only one folk. I know I got 8 billion sisters and brothers, but some of us don't think that. They feel good because they can mess here. We look bad. So that makes them look good. That's stupid. But people are like that. They got to change their mindset. And when I get my truck, you know, when I get my truck, now they say I need a chip.
Talking about you?
No.
You talking about your
I got a truck order.
Oh, I thought
they say they say they need a chip. I told them I'm gonna get some. I said I'm gonna get a bag of Frito corn chips, and I say get a tow truck and bring that truck to my house, because they say you need a chip for a brand new truck. Okay.
All right.
But when I get my truck,
help him with that though. He got a little
when I get the truck, I'm gonna call. I can clean it up better. But I know we got some trucks in the city that can do. You know.
You can help. You can help us orchestrate.
Do better. I want that corner of Michigan Avenue, Inkster Road.
That's why he's our humanitarian of the year.
I clean that up, but I don't have the heavy duty equipment.
Bless your heart, man. Thank you so much.
But anyway, I love y'all.
We love you.
But hey, I ain't gonna quit now.
Okay.
But they did their job. They saw it. Okay.
All right. We got you.
You're pretty good.
Love you.
I love you too. Miss Jessie Shelby.
It's so windy.
Shelby, you good? All right.
That's a good point.
Good evening.
I'm sorry we didn't the residents get a chance to hear more about the new system of the people that works, how they can pay. Because I think we elderly people need to hear a little more about it, and that's what you was trying to get them to say.
What is it? What was your question?
The presentation you have about how people can pay after the office closed here.
Yeah, they can play during the
Are we
office and
going
after.
to have, is that person that works for the city gonna still be here for us older people that comes to?
Yes, we're not changing anything.
So why are we having something else different? Are you having a problem with the people that work?
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with the people that work here. It's
Not
just actually
the
giving them
people
better-
that work here. Are you
giving you
having a problem with the people that work in the city of Inkster coming to pay their bill?
No, not
When you have a post office box out there, they can drop it off after hours.
It's just a different option as it relates to
coming
the
into-
new. It's just a part of the
Okay.
future.
The other thing
Part of
is,
convenience.
this question about what's with Lamone Garden Housing Development? Are they tearing it down or what? What are you going to discuss about?
Okay.
You didn't tell us.
Did you have any other questions?
The question is number A on the new business.
Yep. So let me make sure we're all on the same page. So we have to publish this stuff. So it's been published for like 21 days where we published it, and we had a planning commission meeting where we had people come out, and the housing authority came and did a huge presentation for us and the general public, and for us to talk about what it is that they're planning to do. We're just giving them action to proceed on with what they're trying to do. They're going to come back to us again as it relates to a presentation for the entire community, which they do all the time. And please, come up, young lady, please. And just briefly, just as it relates to what you guys are doing with Lamone, and then how Ms. Shelby can get that information to when you guys are meeting, because you guys meet like once a month. Go ahead.
So hi, Dana Christian with TRG. We're the developers that are working with the Housing Authority to redevelop Lemoyne Gardens. And we are having our meetings every month with the residents and now with the community. Our first one will be March 8th. And so that, I think that came to you guys as well, to talk to the outside community as well as the residents that live on the site, to talk about what the plans are. But we've already started some planning and had to come to the council and the mayor to talk about what those plans are, as well as HUD, as well as Lemoyne Gardens staff as well. So we've been moving forward with plans, talking to everybody, but we still want to hear what everyone thinks of what we're doing. Yes, we are talking about some demolition. We are talking about bringing everyone back to the site. There's 275 units now. We're going to bring 275 units back. So those are the plans. But if you want to hear more and you want to tell us what you think, come on March 8th to our meeting. We'll make sure the flyers are out here. Let me see. It's 2 times.
I've never heard of any of this stuff. ICYMI.
Wait a minute.
Yes, so we'll get the flyers put out. They're already out as well, but I can make sure you in particular get it, as well as anybody else that's interested in knowing about it. And you can also call the Housing Authority, Inkster Housing, and find out. Anything else I can answer? I don't want to take up your time.
Problem exists between.
Where's the meeting gonna be
people and
located?
shade, meaning the users.
Go back to my seat.
I've never heard that.
Okay. We'll get you all that information.
Okay, the other thing is, the reason I'm here is because I thought you had something on about the marijuana programs, that some new ones you going to some areas in the city, because I think we have enough of that.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready to leave. Because we just gonna be a marijuana city? This is not fair to us. I'm 86 years old. We don't need all that. I need a grocery store. I need some place to shop. And the area you're using, what about a school? That's where old Blanchette used to be, I understand, on Henry Ruff. You canceled it. See, I had phone calls came to me today from 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I'm trying to eat my dinner, and they asking me to come to the meeting. And I said, can't you citizens talk to the city yourself instead of Jesse Shelby coming to talk for you? Because it's unfair to me. I don't need to come out here talk for the other folks. But I'm here tonight because I got here to talk about the marijuana places that you're going to put in this city. Now, I heard one of the council person was asking why did it come off their calendar for tonight? You going to reschedule it?
It didn't never make it to the calendar. So at any rate, we'll be talking about it next council meeting.
Next council meeting.
It'll be a full council meeting with just marijuana. So we'll be able to talk about.
See, the last time I was at a council meeting, you passed 6 of them that night, all on Michigan Avenue.
Correct.
And I thought that we had a thing that says how many we was going to have in Inkster, and you said no, that had changed. That Michigan Avenue has no limit, and I think that's unfair.
That's not the case. So that's why we have to talk about it, so we're all talking.
Well, the last time that I asked that question, you said that Michigan Avenue, remember? You said Michigan Avenue had no number of how many we could have, because I'm the one that asked the question. Because I went back into my minutes and I found out, I came in and I asked, I said, at this such and such a time, we had a certain number of marijuana places that we could have in the city. And I was told here at council meeting, there is no limit to the ones that you're having on Michigan Avenue.
Okay, we'll be talking about all of that, so you'll be able to come back in. This is not.
Got to wait for another month
Yes, ma'am.
to come back. We don't need any more, Mayor.
I understand that, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. Moving right along, let's go into City Clerk. What you have for us?
Well, as most of you know, this year is a local election year. Primary is scheduled for August 8th. The offices that are open are mayor for a 4-year term, District 1 council person for a 4-year term, District 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 each have a council person for 4-year term. Petitions, if you'd like to run, are available in the clerk's office beginning tomorrow. Nominating petitions will be due back April 25th of 2023 by 4 o'clock.
April 23rd?
April 20 what?
25th.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, Treasurer?
Just for the department heads, February 28th is the date. I did send you guys out the calendar for the budget information. So February 28th, we're looking to have that information in BSNA.
And then let's set for the council, for you to come back before the council in March. So the second meeting in March for budget updates and any amendments that we're requesting. So let's make sure that we put that out for that, okay? All right, any questions? All right.
I have
Go
one
ahead,
question.
please.
Our audit, has our audit been done?
Well, they're finishing it up now.
Okay.
We're gonna be on time this year. We're ahead of the game.
I thought it was supposed to be last year.
No, we done that last year. Audit, what we talking about?
Well, I'm used to the audit being done by the end of the December for the following year, so, okay, no problem.
So how far are we behind?
Well, a month.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the holdup?
Just Raymond, the auditors.
Usually we have our audit by the end of the
Just
year.
Raymond. We need to look at, anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Fire Chief, you got anything for us?
No, sir.
Mr. Bibbins, anything for us?
I already told you.
All right.
chair here.
All right, Chief, you got anything for us?
No, sir.
All right, Council, Councilwoman Wiley, why don't you start us?
Okay, I'm looking for David's thing in the packet. He said his notice reference David was in the packet. I haven't found it, so if you could point that out to me.
What is it?
Regarding
For
the
the,
kiosk
remember I asked if
comments.
David had looked over the contract? It's in, you said it was in the packet. I didn't find it in the packet. Is it in that booklet? Is that
You'd
it?
like for him to have separation from he read the contract, the service agreement.
No, he just, I asked
like for
the
him to have
question
notes?
and he answered it like I was supposed to be able to find what he said in here. I'm just asking what he said.
No, I can clarify. What I said was I communicated with the administration regarding the contract. I had several emails back and forth with the administration.
So there's nothing?
I don't know what's in the
There's
packet.
nothing in the packet.
I didn't have anything to do with the packet.
I'm asking because that's what I was told and I'm looking.
As
So
it
no.
relates to the contract?
Yeah, I asked what his advisory was and you said
Oh,
it's
so
in
you
the
want
packet.
so you want his advisory to what he said
I
as it
just want
relates
what
to
you
bringing
told
it
me
to-
I could find and I didn't find it.
I'm just trying not to be confused on what you're saying.
Huh?
I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
Remember I said, has David looked over this? And you said that you communicate with David, administration or whatever, and I just asked where it was, and you said it's in my packet, and I am having difficulty finding it in the packet.
The contract is not in the packet.
I didn't see a contract. I asked for David's
Contract with
advisory.
DivDat is not in the
I
contract.
asked for David's advisory on it, and he said he already made his statement. But I'm not gonna belabor it anymore because apparently someone's confused. Okay? Now, the other thing is, I'd like to speak to the citizens of Inkster because this is time for you to decide. You can't sit back any longer and magically expect things to correct themselves. Your voice is needed to determine who and what you are as a community for the present and the future. Up to this point, other people have defined you. You must choose the course this city will take and the legacy you'll leave for your children, grandchildren, and generations to come. A brief history, and I'm speaking about marijuana, yes, because this has been on my mind all week. Those of you who know, I have called you and asked you to show up, and apparently a lot of you have for that purpose. So I'm going to give you a brief history of our marijuana situation. It came in as medical marijuana under Hampton's administration. They opted in to medical marijuana, and 3 licenses were issued. When the state eliminated the excise tax on medical marijuana, the next administration, Byron Nolan's, opted into recreational, because that's the only way we could get the money, because they had stopped giving it to us on the medical. Okay? This all changed during Wimberly's administration when we went from 3 licenses to unlimited licenses with 1,000-foot buffers. Okay? Now, those buffers are utilizing a prime stretch of land on Michigan Avenue. Between Henry Ruff and Middle Belt, they have proposed a new green zone, which again is unlimited marijuana with no buffers. The city currently has 3 fully operational marijuana facilities. And since the lawsuit that was instituted by Patrick Wimberly for Suite B recently was resolved, that's a 4th license because they got their license in late 2022. And there are another 7 on tap that are in the process of getting a license too. And I will name them for you. There's one at 26201 Michigan Avenue. There's one at 29225 and 29245 Michigan Avenue. There's one at 29709 Michigan Avenue. There's one at 29899 Michigan Avenue. There's one at 30007 Michigan Avenue. There's one at 30101 Michigan Avenue. And then there's another one going in at 1444 Inkster Road. Okay, what you have to realize too is that only 2 of these people are representative of the demographic that's in Inkster that are going into this business. Okay, and none of them, except for one, actually live in Inkster. So these people are bringing what they want into your city and you're allowing it. I'm sorry, did somebody say something? Okay, all right. So what I'm asking is, how do you want your city's legacy to be? It can't be just marijuana. There has to be another industry that we can bring into this community. We have to diversify. Believe me, we've been cut out of every wealth-bearing era in this country, from Reconstruction to the .com and the Bitcoin. Yet we managed to super qualify for numerous marijuana facilities. Okay, what happened to the proposed entertainment district that was supposed to go where they want this green zone to go on Michigan Avenue? The size and the demographic of this city cannot support nor sustain this industry. Do you realize per capita, now that means every 10,000 people, there's supposed to be at least 16 to 21 police officers for 10,000 people. We're running the risk of approaching that same amount of marijuana facilities for every 10,000 people. Is that really how you see your city? Is this really the best we can do? I have heard for some time now that if you see something, say something. Okay? Well, I see Inkster becoming a site where everyone dumps their refuge. So I'm saying something. Enough is what I'm saying. I see Inkster disrespected and diminished by those who act as if we will tolerate this insult without objection. So I'm saying something. Enough. I see our children burdened under the yoke of poor decisions that leave them no foundation on which to build. So I'm saying something. Enough. I see our elderly surrounded by the smells and the miasmic smog, who can't afford to sell their homes but can't enjoy them either. I see this. So I'm saying something. Enough. I see poor or no planning, non-existent foresight in our leadership, and an inability to diversify enterprises within the city. So I'm saying something. Enough. But I can't do this by myself. I've tried. I can't do this by myself. I need you. I need you all to stand up and say, enough. You know, enough. I've also heard that all we need in Inkster is love. Tell me, Inkster, is this what love looks like? Is it? That's it.
All right. And that's why, Councilwoman, we're going to have this meeting so we can go over the facts. Because the fact of the matter is just what you just said. If you didn't opt into adult use marijuana without having any zoning or any rules, we wouldn't have to be dealing with this issue today.
Okay, the
So
number
when we
was
talk about
supposed to remain at 3.
When we talk about the issue,
I
we'll talk
had
about
that
the issue.
conversation with you.
Okay. You don't have conversations with me.
Yes,
so.
I did at the beginning of your.
Ma'am, you don't have a conversation
At the
with me.
beginning,
This is what
you
do to
called me,
This
which
what you
is
do to
why
me.
I don't talk to you privately anymore. It
Okay.
was supposed to stay at 3.
Okay,
And I
Councilwoman.
firmly believe if you hadn't become mayor, it would still be 3.
All right, Councilwoman Washington?
Just have one quick complaint on Meadow Lane, and I'll send that over to code enforcement. Just having issues and receiving complaints from Middle Park Manor Block Club from residents, and then some residents as well on the street with vehicle that's just been abandoned and just sitting here, also with dog issues from this house. So I'll be able to send that information to you. And then that's all I have for tonight.
All right, Councilman Shaw.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to just have a couple of things. First, I wanted to thank Ms. Ms. Triplett for DPS superintendent for some issues that she had resolved for me. So I just want to let her know she handled them in a very professional way, and I want to say thank you to Ms. Triplett. And also, I have some graffiti, just a couple cleanup items I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Some graffiti on the house at Glenwood, 28549 Glenwood.
28549 Glenwood, okay.
And I just want to know, with the city cutting down trees, do we actually do the removal of the stump?
So typically we do. It all depends on, you want to answer that? Go ahead, I see you not yet.
Okay, because I have a couple of spots that the city has cut down the tree, but the stumps are not removed, and it's been maybe about a year or two. So I just want to know if there's a protocol that we do after the fact that the contractors come out.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes it's just delayed. You know, sometimes we get hit with abundance of trees. Sometimes we get hit with abundance of trees, or a storm or something, and he'll go through and knock all those trees down, and he'll come back and get the stumps. But if you email those locations to Ms. Triplett, we'll make sure that gets handled. Okay. She oversees that for me.
Okay, very good. And also, around the city, the stop signs and no parking signs, do we have a program in which we're going to revamp some of those broken stop signs? And sometimes those no parking signs don't have the face on them, and some of them are on the ground, and is anybody going around just focusing in on the stop signs and no parking signs? Not just focused on it, but, you know, if they see something like that, you know.
To answer your question, sir, to the audience, Mayor Wimberly implemented a program a couple of years ago in my department, and we had a delay on stop signs coming in and posts. We have gotten that, and we're in the process. If you've driven around the city, you've seen we put up a bunch of new stop signs, and we're starting to put up no parking signs too. So it's a slow process, sir, but we're getting to it.
Now the time frame with the pothole patching, is there a timeline that you're going to start, or are you doing it right now?
We've been doing some because of the unseasonably warm weather, but normally we start towards the end of April and May when spring comes about. And we're putting a plan together now to address that.
And, you know, Mr. Chair, my hope is that, you know, we forcefully, you know, engage some of these homes that has trash. I mean, I think Mr. Gabe had came up and talked about that. You know, it looks bad, you know, and I'm hoping that we can really forcefully put some teeth in these people who are, you know, habitual in business.
You gotta work on them. You gotta work on them. Trash all out there.
Let's stay in order, please. Councilman, finish.
So I hopefully that we can be able to be forcefully with those homes that's around the city. I know I see several of them going through the district. They got trees, and some of them is abandoned homes. They're not all just people who live in these homes. But, you know, I have some bus stops of my kids getting onto the bus. And the homes is there, they're abandoned, you know, they're wrecked. So I'm hoping that, you know, we can forcefully, you know, make sure this season that we can, you know, be on top of it.
Okay.
And also I drove down our new road on Avondale in Middlebelt. They did a fine job there. The pavement is beautiful. I mean, some of them folks got some new driveways. I mean, it is nice.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's a multi-million-dollar project that was going on. So I'm hoping that we continue the rest of Avondale. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Councilman Williams?
Okay, you know, I notice people come out and they listen to people, what people got to say. You know, we're the easiest people in the world to sit up and want to put the blame game on many people. You know, this marijuana situation, I'm going to it, Mr. Mayor. This marijuana situation come here, I wasn't even on council Okay, and what they did was the state said if you didn't, if you want marijuana, don't say nothing. And this council said, not this council, but the council was sitting here previous, said nothing. So it came in effect, okay, that they can have marijuana in here. Meanwhile, it came down, it came down where they come up with the moratorium. Okay, when they come up with the moratorium, that means that stopped everything for a period of a year. But what happened was that the same people that you see out there now that's got these places for marijuana now, they wait good until you lift that marijuana and come in here and flooded this place with all kind of applications. Now, if I'm lying, there's a clerk sitting there. Okay, so now we got all these different places down here. Now, I don't know what she got. I mean, that was something that somebody had talked about, green zone and various stuff like that, but I haven't heard that, okay? And what I'm saying is that people need to come out, and I'm kind of ashamed that you want to come out now, because you should have killed it back when you had opportunity, okay? So now, so I'm sitting here as your representative. Okay, you think I like it because they put them all down there in my area? Huh? But they know what they were doing. Okay, you put it all down there in District 1. But the thing about it is that we got them down there, okay, what they call race to the finish. Okay? And I'm just trying to see how that's going to play out. Okay? See, we don't, and many times we sit up and we go places and we complain. But when is the time going to come when we unite in this city and come out here and voice our opinions and unite together and get this city moving like it should be? Maybe I'll be dead and gone before it happens, because all I hear people doing is complaining. Okay, nobody even came out and tried to stop marijuana. Everybody said, well, that's a good thing. You had people come all around that wall in here saying we want marijuana. If I'm lying, anybody? We were sitting here.
That was incorrect.
Huh?
That's incorrect.
Okay. They were just talking about what they wanted. Okay. And the thing about it, meanwhile, people was doing a little homework around there. Now don't sit here and I'm not gonna sit here and allow nobody to talk about that Mayor Wimley bought all the marijuana in here. Don't do him like that. Okay? Never once nobody in here ever admit that Brian Nolan was the chief mayor in that city when he let it neglect, okay, and that's how it became in recreational marijuana. Okay? Now, reason why we got so many, and then we can sit down, look how many lawsuits we done lost that we had to settle. Look at the lawsuits we had to settle under marijuana. Come on now, y'all all sitting here?
One.
Huh?
One.
Oh no. No, don't come here sitting
Okay,
talking
so
about one.
two.
Okay, all right, come
Two.
on. All right.
Two.
Come on.
And
And
you
then
voted
what
for both
no,
of them.
hold it. What you mean two? Let's go back.
Name them.
No, I'm not gonna call them people names out here, but I'm gonna tell you this now. 4 or 5 I can name that came here. Okay, but I don't think it's to bring it out in the public right now. Okay?
I'm sorry.
Come on now.
I can't let you mix it up like that. It's two, Ms. Councilman.
Only two?
It's two. You voted for him. It's two.
Only two.
I pulled up the results in a council meeting before and read the minutes to y'all. I read everybody votes off. It's two.
We'll get into the conversation meeting, and I'll prove you different.
So be it.
I'll prove you different. Because while y'all was sitting there playing with the moratorium, they was setting y'all up then. So whenever a meeting want to come on, do the right thing. Invite everybody in the community to come out, that want to come out. Don't go out here calling the different people, I need you to come out to the meeting, now you need you to come out here where you can ask questions. Tell the whole community to come on out here.
Okay, let's stay in order, please. We are in session. Let's stay in order.
You know, just let everybody come out here and let's take it from the top. Let's take it from the top. And as you look at it, at the threats and things that we had, children, you'll see there's more than two.
Threats or actual litigation? Threats or actual litigation? That's the difference.
Well, we did away with some of the threats. You remember them, right?
Talk to me, you done?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I just wait, but see, I just don't want. I don't want nobody to
We'll bring it all up.
lift all these different rides in here about marijuana in the city, because regardless of what you say, whatever, the ones that's out there, they're gonna be there anyway. Yeah, what you gonna do? You gonna close them down and get sued? But let's go back from the beginning, and then I'm gonna leave this alone. Let's go back to the beginning and see who initiated all of this. When all they had to do was sit there and vote, no, not to have it in Inkster. Never would have had one.
All right, Councilman Chisholm?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just piggybacking on what Councilman Williams was saying, when he talked about inviting people to meetings, I know a lot of us don't always attend every single meeting. So therefore, we can't recall all of the facts. And when he talks about starting from the beginning, this goes back to 2015 under Mayor Hilliard Hampton. This doesn't start under the last two particular administrations, the present or the last one. So when you talk about going to the beginning, we have to go back from that. And everybody has to be receptive to all the facts, not just what you want to hear or want to believe or what you were involved in. Because your good friend, Mr. Larry Motley, was one of these people who rallied all the troops from the Southwest Block Club and stood right here when we were on this planning commission and filled this room. Normally, when you come to a planning commission meeting, you could throw 100 bricks and hit nobody. But when Mr. Motley and his group and what they did standing out there, the food line that Pauline had, and passing out that misinformation and all the messages I was getting on Facebook, and the people was eating me up alive when I was trying to give them information that they didn't believe, they were opposed to the things that were happening. So when you say nobody opposed it, the public came out and opposed it. Different people on council opposed it. So I'm not saying anybody's lying or anything like that, but we have to be firm on all the facts and present them to the public, and not just specific ones, because we all recall different things. And I admit to that, because sometimes I do too. So when you say you're going to prove to me X, Y, and Z, show it to me on paper.
I will show it to you.
Alrighty. And then another thing, we do have a communication issue in this city. We've talked about this before. We underserve a certain populace in this community when it's time to get the word out. And the majority of them are our seniors. And a lot of times, and that's why I understand the disgruntlement or disappointment with the kiosk situation, because it's an advancement in technology that everybody's not versed with and may not have the wherewithal or capabilities to fully utilize. So I get that. But I'm always open to being able to assist and show people the advancements and the tools and the resources and all that good stuff too. But we have to realize and recognize that too, that there is a communication gap in this city. And we have to continuously work to find out a way to get the word out. And we do our best when one person is making all these phone calls. One person might send emails. Another thing might be the public notice in the paper and posting on the windows of city council chambers, the public access channels, so on and so forth. We can go on and on and on about that. But we have to recognize that and stop making it like we're just angling at certain people to bring out because they will step out and say something. We just have to figure out what we can do to better get the word out. Lastly, for those who may or may not have been informed about what was going on in Lansing, regarding the Inkster school debt. I'm not fully versed to speak on all of these matters, but there were some opportunities that came up regarding the Inkster school debt. I'm going to forward everybody on this body, inclusive of the city attorney, the resolution samples that are asking yet again for our input in relieving this city and you all and ourselves as taxpayers of this debt that's lingering over our head. A couple of things I conversed about with representatives that reached out to me, I guess regarding State Representative Billman Wagella's office, with the Inkster School District in full. Our buildings, and the fact that Baylor Woodson still stands and is owned and operated by Garden City. Okay, Risa, but.
September, and we supposed to be asking this.
Okay, Miss Shelby. So when I was talking to them, to me, paying off the Inkster school debt was one thing, but we need to make sure that our city is made whole because our buildings were given away, some were demolished, our land was rationed out, and then we still have a tax debt that's lingering on the backs of our taxpayers, and we have not been treated fairly as any other surrounding community would. No other community, and I did the math, within 50 to 100 miles has underwent such a hardship. And I believe once we approach this issue again and get deeply involved in it, we need to bring all of this to the table. Because wiping the debt is one thing, but we need to get back the rest of our land. And we need to figure out too, when or if we decide, because nowadays putting up any type of building, especially a school, it's a multi-million-dollar thing. We do not need to go down the path again of taking out bonds because we start the process all over again. We need the stuff back that was taken from us because now the debt is paid off, but our buildings are gone. So how is that fair, right? That's like having your car repossessed, but you done paid the car off and they still keep the car. You get your car back. So we need our buildings back, and then we just need to figure out which direction we're going in. And also, when I talk about the district itself, it's because when you really look at the map and how Inkster is divided up amongst 5 different districts, the 4 surrounding communities or surrounding districts, plus Inkster itself, we need all of our tax dollars to reflect in our community and not just be one little square in the center, and then they say, well, do what you can with $5 when really you paying out 10.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, just to add to that a little bit, Councilman, and I'm glad that you brought that up, but we are in talks with Senator Pohanke as it relates to the Inkster school debt and also the $3 million debt that the city owes. So we know that we have a $3 million debt that the city took on from the state as it relates to a loan to the city. So we want all of that resolved. Yeah. So Senator Pohanke has reached out to me directly after Lansing with Representative Wagella not supporting the governor's 2 initiatives, being the only Democratic person that voted no against the bills that she had proposed in the appropriation. So we're definitely working hard with that. So we haven't given up on that, but we did add on there too the debt for the city of Inkster, which will save us about $300,000 a year.
And I know, Mr. Mayor, too, even if they do, whichever side it comes from first, if you will pass legislation, it's got to get through both sides of the House, which is...
Oh, he's working. He's trying.
Okay, cool.
He's trying. I know he's formed some committee or something. I don't know if you got
those meetings are supposed to be coming up,
yeah.
like the end of the month.
Yeah, we shall see. All right. Mayor Pro Tem?
I just have one question. The school that's on Annapolis, what's going on with that?
Annapolis and Beach.
And Beach Daily, yeah.
So that's actually, it's kind of weird because the person that supposedly owns it now also too owns the doctor's office that we were talking about getting back on Inkster Road in Michigan Avenue. So they were in our offices about 2 weeks ago with some plans to actually do something. But I think that was sparked because of David's initiative to try to get that particular piece of land back. So the judge, of course, has said that she had to do so much as it relates to
Did y'all
cleaning
take
the property
pictures?
up and
Because
all.
it looks
Oh,
a
we got
mess
all
over
that.
there.
We got all that. Miss Triplett has been out with her officers. Of course, we've done all of that before, but
Yeah, it's been a
we just
long
really
time.
piled it on. So we do have an entity that's interested in buying the property because the property is it's privately owned now. We can't force them outside of cleaning their property up.
And which they
And
don't.
understand this, the part of it, which we don't get, is that this is the legislative body that sits here. with a legislative body. Then you have the executive body, which is the mayor's office and the administration. But then you have the judicial side of it. So we can write all the tickets we want. When it gets to the judge may say, oh, no, give them another 30 days.
Right.
Oh, no, that's such and such, give them another, no, don't fine them that much.
And we
So-
should be hard because,
That's that part we have to understand. We always forget that it's the judge who makes
Right.
the final decisions.
right.
It's not this body. It's not the mayor's office. And then it costs us. So we can go out with the limited resources that we have. It costs us so much money to be able to do it, which again puts us further into debt. So we have to be conscious of that when we're talking about, holding people accountable. They get to the judge, we just got to start. We're working on it. We got a really good plan. The chief of police, along with Supervisor Triple, has been really working hard on the plan to devise what we're doing, along with AC Slappy. So we're gonna make it happen.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. That's
Well,
all I have.
I'm on you for that. All right then. All right, and this is to the council, and I mentioned this to you before, but we have monies now. We have $369,000 from the county for demolition. So I'm looking for a list. I'm working, of course, with the building department, with the code enforcement as it relates to properties in the city that need to be demolished, but you're in your district. So please send me those homes within your district that you think, hey, can we get this on the list? Now, understand this, it has to be city-owned. So if it's a private-owned person, then we can go to them privately. For instance, we have a particular home that was burnt all the way down, and the person just walked away, and they owe like 2 years in back taxes, where they gotta owe 3 years in back taxes in order for it to come to the city. So what we're doing is just reaching out to them and saying, hey, would you be willing to sign it over to the city? And then we demolish it. So it's that part of it. So let's make sure that you guys, please, I want to, within this next 2 to 3 weeks, have that list, so when the spring hits, we can start tearing these properties down.
Can you put that one?
I already got it.
What is it, Ludington?
On Manny.
On Manny?
Manny, I got that.
And what about the burn-up unit down on Isabel?
Yes, I got that one on the list as well. And then I got Cherry and Harrison Street, the one that's dilapidated, falling in.
Oh, okay, on the other side.
Cherry and Harrison Street. I already got that, yes,
Is
ma'am.
that District 3, though? You talking about the two-family flat?
Yes, the two side by side, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I know you all right there.
Yeah.
It's all Inkster, so.
Yeah, it need to go.
Go ahead.
So the houses that's burnt down, don't the insurance company send us a check?
So it all depends on if they have insurance or not.
If they have insurance or not.
So if they do have insurance, then they will send a certain amount to us. It's through the P495 Act.
Okay.
For the fire code, and they'll send us a check. I believe
Some of them, okay.
That's what happens. You want to speak to that a little bit? 'Cause you said some of them have insurance. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, because I know once the house, if they have insurance, they would send us a check. And just in case they walk away, it would be something to tear it down or whatever.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. Anything else? Hearing none, call for adjournment. All in favor? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Somebody say nay, they can stay. Right, sorry about that. I was working.